All right, what's happening, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I am, of course, your host, Octagon Jordan, back in the saddle for my fucking fans. Let's go. What's good, Oct Nation? The Octa Knights. Yeah, we're back from the cruise. Royal Caribbean, Miami to St. Martin to St. Thomas to Coco Cay. And boy, did we have the perfect day at Coco Cay. But we're not here to talk about a fucking cruise right now. We are here to talk about UFC 302. Now, I know I've had a little bit of time off the last month. I went on this cruise, just got back, as you can see by my tannish hue. The hue. One who farts must sit in own pew. Anyway, I know UFC 301 went down. I did terrible in the picks. I picked Anthony Smith and Jose Aldo to lose. I know they both won, so we have a lot to discuss there. I'm going to put out a separate video breaking that down, but I know that's old news. We just had UFC St. Louis, Joaquim Numansa, D-Lou. Derek Lewis, me balls was hot, and boy, were his balls hot again. Not only that, his butthole was hot. His gooch was hot. His cup was hot. His tits were hot. His whole body was fucking hot. You know what? I'm hot. So everybody grab a drink. Let's get into this video. UFC 302. Is it a good card? Is it a bad card? What are we expecting out of it? They just released the main card. Of course, like always, per usual, they had to throw in a random-ass Kevin Holland fight on there. Woo! I'm buying it now, baby. I might just have to go get tickets. It's looking almost as good as UFC 288 Aljo Cejudo. Anyway, pull up. I'm detoxing. I had the drink package on the Royal Caribbean, Icon on the Seas. So I had a little white wine in my cup for the detox. You know, I got to take it a little slow. We went hard. I think I drank maybe 10 bottles of Bombay overall. I could still taste the gin and tonics, the Bombay tonics on my lips. Oh, that's so good. Anyway, I want to show you guys just a couple quick photos of my cruise. Let me make sure everything's working properly. Oh, yeah, by the way, follow me, Octagon_Jordan on Twitter. Right here, we're booming with my family on the infinity pool, right out the rear end of the Icon on the Seas. Nothing but Atlantic Ocean and Bombay tonics, baby. We are moving and grooving. You can see Octagon J right there in the middle. Everybody having a good time. This was my favorite bartender. His name was Michael. The guy was a G. Had my back every time I left my room, came on the deck. He ran up to me. Oh, Jordan, what can I get for you? Another Bombay tonic. My Filipino brothers. They from Philly as well, so two Philly boys kicking it. And then, of course, we have the football guru. You guys might recognize him. Hall of Fame coach, current analyst. We got Octagon Jordan, my brother, Dan. Dan Bully, you guys have seen him. And then we got Rex Ryan. How can you miss that white hair and those great teeth, baby? Look at them choppers. Had to get a pic with old Rex Ryan. He was enjoying himself, throwing back the Coronas, throwing back the tacos. The guy was loving life, so it was a hell of a cruise. Let's get into UFC 302. Well, let's figure out if this is a good card. Let's see what we think. Let's break down every fight. Not only if it's big names, but also if we think it's going to be action fights. Because, you know, we've been seeing recently like the Nicolau and Perez card. It looked like trash. You know, trash main event. Not a lot of big names on the card. But that card was very entertaining. You had David Onama, Jonathan Pierce. You had a lot of knockouts on that card. And just turned out to be a really, really good card. 299, 300, both delivered. 298 was okay. But one that really stands out to me was 292, I want to say. Gaethje Poirier. I want to say Gaethje Poirier or 290. Well, 291 was international. 290 was International Fight Week. 291. 293 was August. Yeah, so 292. That wasn't such a great card. You know, we had Alex Pereira, Jan Blachowicz on that card. That turned out to be a stinker. Nobody's rewatching that on Fight Pass. Gaethje Poirier, we thought was going to be a 5-round war. Turned out to just be a quick, you know, head kick knockout. Yeah, okay, solid highlight, but nothing to really ride home about. You know, nothing really to drop 80 bones for, to watch a quick 1-second head kick. I mean, unless it's Terrence McKinney. Sitting back in his chair about to watch SpongeBob. What's up, ref? What's going on, man? My nosebleed. I got KO'd again. So it's not all about big names, but it's about matchups. So let's look at this card. Early prelims. We got Lima, the guy that got bit. He was actually pretty exciting. I'm not sure about this guy. I'm not even going to try and say his last name. This fucking goof right here. He might be the next Mittabak Olbai, for all we know. Ugly dude, terrible name. Could be the next Mittabak Olbai. So who knows? But I'm excited to see Lima. I think that'll be an action fight. Tatsuro Taira and Joshua Van. I just saw Big Marcel posted that this fight is being like separated or something. Being changed, something with some other two fighters. I don't know. I'm thinking they probably came to their senses and they don't want two hot prospects in the 125-pound division fighting each other at this time, which is probably smart because that division's stale as shit. We're tired of Brandon Moreno. We're sick of Royval, okay? Makhayev's boring. No Cap can't make it to a fight. Alex Perez just woke up out of a coma for the last 3 years. Tim Elliott's in the top 10. What are we doing? What are we doing? Steve Erceg? Okay, I get it. Big knockout against Matt Schnell. Highly contested contest against Pantoja. But Steve Erceg? Come on. So they came to their senses. But I don't think either guy's going to be on this card. Unfortunate. Perez Edwards, take it or leave it. It's probably be a boring point fight. That's a dud. Mickey Gall versus Basil Hafez. I would have liked to see Basil Hafez get a bigger test. I mean, he fought against JDM. He's one of the few guys to make it the distance. Gilbert Burns got stopped by JDM. Randy Brown got stopped by JDM. Basil Hafez, I thought he lost the fight, but a lot of people thought he won the fight. So I'm excited to see him come back in his second UFC fight. Mickey Gall, I mean, I thought this guy was done. I don't know where this guy's been. He got knocked out by Mike Malott. Mike Malott, the boys are hot, who's also a fraud. You know, the CM Punk thing is a long time ago at this point. I don't think any of these new fans post-COVID even remember CM Punk or even care about him. So that fight's not going to do much for me. I think Basil Hafez walk in the park. Phil Rowe, Jake Matthews, two guys with not great personalities, not that exciting of fight styles. Jake Matthews had that flash in the pan against Andre Fialho where he looked very exciting, knockout, looked crisp, looked great. And then he stumbled against Semmelsberger, and he's been stumbling ever since. I think he's on a couple-fight L streak at the moment. Well, he beat that guy Darius Flowers, but his fights have been boring. Phil Rowe, clinch fest against Neil Magny. This fight does nothing for me. I'm not excited for it whatsoever. I actually have to drink to that one. So we're not off to a great start here, boys. We're not off to a great start to UFC 302. It's looking like a Apex card so far. Mickey Gall, some fucking rando, Phil Rowe. Come on. After that Neil Magny, Phil Rowe fight, both those guys need to be cut. That fight sucked. And I'm never going to get those 25 or 20 minutes back that I spent watching that fucking clinch fest. Nico Price, Alex Morono. This one should be fairly exciting. Nico Price is always, die on the shield, live by the sword type of fighter. He's there to knock you out or get knocked out. Alex Morono, I thought he was better than he is. He looked good against Anthony Pettis. He looked good against Santiago Ponzinibbio. But recently, Alex Morono ain't been doing it for the boy. Ain't been doing it for old Octagon J here. Hasn't been touching me, all right? Hasn't been moving me. His fight against Tim Means, fucking dudzo. Okay, his other fights, Joaquin Buckley, he was sucking big old balls against Numansa. Sent that boy right back to Uzbekistan. Okay? Now, I know Numansa's hot. Morono, he's not a complete scrub. I think this is only going to be exciting if Nico Price makes it exciting. So I'm more excited for this one than the other one so far. But, I could see Price taking it a little safe because he's been knocked out a lot. Morono just trying to get a dub and it not being that great of a fight. Next, Grant Dawson versus Joe Selecki. Two grapplers. I mean, this could be exciting because it's two wrestlers, two grapplers that could cancel each other out. I'm just not sure if Selecki's up to par with Dawson as far as the grappling. I know Dawson absolutely bodied Ismagulov, that fucking creep, that ugly man from wherever he's from. But then he got exposed by Bobby Green. Obviously, Selecki doesn't have the hands of Bobby Green. This is a completely different matchup. I think this is right in Dawson's wheelhouse. I think he's got this 100%. Selecki coming back quick off that KO slam to Jakar Close. I think this is a tailor-made matchup for Dawson. I don't think it's going to be overly exciting unless Selecki can put up some sort of, interesting fight, interesting ground battle. Not going to be that exciting. This card ain't looking too good, boys. We need the main card to save us. Will it do it? Will it do so? What do we think, Octanites? Come on, Octanation. I'm trying some different things out, boys. Tell me what you like down in the comments. I know some of that shit's mad cheesy, but, we do what we can. My dad had Octanites, I think. I don't know. Big Star Wars guy. Cesar Almeida, the kickboxer, coming over from Glory Kickboxing. Former opponent of Alex Pereira, Powhatan, Plywood, bitch ass, against Roman Kopylov. This will be a very exciting fight. 2 stand-up guys, 2 strikers. Neither one's going to go for any wrestling. Maybe Kopylov if he's smart, but Kopylov's been exposed in the wrestling before. Fluffy Hernandez just submitted him. Other people have submitted him. Duraev submitted him. So it's a good matchup for both guys. I think either guy can win the fight. Kopylov has more experience. I think if he does mix in some grappling, it'll be good for him. And he has dual weapons. So if he gets Cesar, thinking about the grappling, couple shots just to get his mind going, just to get him, what's going to happen, what's happening. He can catch him with something similar to he did against Ribeiro, where he knocked his block off. So that one's going to be exciting. I'm amped up for that one. That's going to be a striker's delight right there. That's a great fight. Very exciting. Get us into the main card. So that's a thumbs up from Octagon Jordan. Randy Rude Boy against Elizus Zaleski dos Santos. This one should be exciting as long as Randy Brown doesn't make it boring. Elizus Zaleski dos Santos has some great wins. He has a win over Sean Strickland, a knockout win. He has a win over Benoit Saint-Denis. Speaking of which, when's his next matchup coming out? Come on, Benoit. Come on. Dos Santos, yeah, he's got some good wins. He has a draw against Hanat Fakhretdinov, which I thought he won. So he's a good fighter. I don't know. I think he just hasn't gotten his respect because of his inactivity. He's lost a couple big fights by decision. He's been inactive. He took a couple years off there from 2020 to 2023. So I think that's hurt him. Randy Brown, he's hit or miss. He just knocked off Muslim Salikov. He got knocked out by JDM. He beat Chaos Williams. I think he's one of those kind of gatekeepers to the top 20 type of cats. I don't think we're ever going to see Randy Brown in the top 10s, the top 12s, but top 20. And I think Zaleski dos Santos is better than Randy Brown. I think he's better than top 20. I think he can crack the top 15 and get in there. I think dos Santos is just as good as Joaquin Buckley, just as good as Wonder Boy at this point in time, just as good as those other guys at welterweight that are just starting to break in. So it should be an exciting fight as long as Randy Brown isn't on the back feet too much, circling away. If he tries to make it a dogfight, I think it can get scrappy. I think we can get some knees, some kicking game going. But that one's hit or miss whether that's going to be exciting. But most of, Zaleski dos Santos' fights are exciting. So I'm going to bank on that one being exciting. Jail time Almeida against Alexander Romanov. The battle of the fraud checks. So, both these guys were the next big thing coming up. Romanov was, throwing everybody around, ragdolling everybody. He was the next big thing at heavyweight until he got exposed by the exposer himself, Marcin Tybura. Marcin Tybura. You want to take a fucking elbow from Tommy Espinal and get dropped like a fucking sack of potatoes. So he got exposed, and then he came back fat as shit. After that fight, he came back fat as fuck. He had a nice little body on him. Look at the 2 photos side by side. He had like a 6-pack. He was looking jacked, and he came back fat as shit. I don't know if it's a USADA thing. I don't know if it's a life thing, if it's a mental health thing. But we need him to get back in shape. Same with Jailton Almeida, coming off a boring win over Derek Lewis, then a loss to Curtis Blades. He ain't looking like the boogeyman no more. He's looking like a one-trick pony. If you could stop his sloppy takedowns, his shitty jiu-jitsu, you can beat him. Is Romanov the guy to do that? I'm not sure, but I'm excited for it. I think it's a great matchup. Both guys use grappling primarily. Both guys are strong. Both guys have the same game plan. They're not really knockout guys. I like it. I like it. I think it's a good test, and I'm looking forward to that one. I think it's a great stylistic matchup. Great fight for Almeida. Great fight for Romanov. I think if Romanov comes in shape like he did in the past, he can outstrength Almeida and wear on him. He's bigger than him. He can put his weight on him if he can get the top position, and he can TKO him similar to Blades. But I'm excited for that fight. Here is the random Kevin Holland, Mikhail Oleksiejczuk fight that just got added the other day. We all know that Dana White gets hard for a good trailblazer fight, baby. Oh, can I put Kevin Holland on the card? He just got me some new Nike sneakers. Oh, let me give him a bonus for fucking doing nothing. Oh, man, Dana White fucking jerks off Kevin Holland in the back, I think. Gives him the Wonder Boy fight for no reason, loses. Gives him the JDM fight for no reason, loses. Gives him the MVP fight for no reason, loses. Now puts him on a main card against an easy matchup. A guy who just is coming off a TKO, up a weight class, doesn't have to cut weight. I mean, hey, it's good to be Kevin Holland. I guess taking that Hamzat Chimaev fight last second's paying off for the boy. So props to him. Can't really hate on him. He's in good with the boss, and that's what we're all trying to do out here. We're trying to get in tight with our boss, get some favors, get some brownie points, and Kevin Holland's doing that. I just hope he doesn't turn into his boy T-Rex, Terrence McKinney, getting shinned like a little miniature Johnny Walker out there every time around. But it's going to be an interesting fight. Oleksiejczuk's a tough guy. I know he's coming off that brutal loss to Michel Pereira. But it was a body shot, and then he got submitted rear naked choke. So he didn't really take a ton of damage. He's a gritty guy. He had a great fight against Chidi Njokuani. Took a bunch of damage, never gave up on himself, came back to get the win. I think Chidi Njokuani's more physical than Kevin Holland. I think Kevin Holland has a better gas tank, doesn't really give up that quickly. Great chin. Didn't get knocked out by JDM. Did not get knocked out by MVP. So it's a good matchup. I definitely think Kevin Holland's going to win, but it should be exciting as long as it lasts. But again, what are the stakes? Is it exciting for the public? Does it mean much? I mean, if it was on a fight night main card, I would be more excited for it. The stakes are just nothing. It's up a weight class. If Holland wins, what is he going to move up in the middleweight rankings? Is he going to move up in the welterweight rankings? Oleksiejczuk, if he wins, what does that mean? So it's a pointless, meaningless fight, which makes my excitement level go down. Unlike the Almeida Romanov, whoever wins that's going to get a big fight in the top 5. But it should be a good fight. Moving up, we have the co-main event: Sean Strickland against Paulo Costa, the Aresa Borrachinha. This one could go one of two ways. Now, I was excited when this fight got announced. Sean Strickland, he's a polarizing figure. Boring fight style, not going to lie. Very defensive, likes to not get hit and not get hit. Jabs, not many knockout punches. He likes to outpoint people like he did against Adesanya. He likes to outpoint people like he did against, Imavov. Abus Magomedov just didn't have the cardio. He got TKO due to volume. I don't see that happening to Costa. I think Costa can force Strickland out of that comfort zone. I think the way Costa fights, obviously it's similar to Dreykus. It's kind of reckless, throwing a lot of power stuff, a lot of punches in bunches, up against the fence, a lot of power stuff like I just mentioned. But I think if he can get in Strickland's head, maybe talk a little shit pre-fight, maybe hit him with a couple big punches. I think Strickland's frustrated right now with the UFC, with his career, after getting he feels like robbed against Dreykus, not getting the immediate rematch, not getting the number 1 contender against Robert Whittaker. I could see Costa pissing Strickland the fuck off, similar to Alex Pereira, making him come forward, hit him with some body shots, get him pissed, get him in the pocket, knock him clean the fuck out. So I'm leaning toward this fight's going to be exciting. That's hard to say with a Strickland fight. 99% of his fights are boring. How do you have a boring fight with Jared Cannonier? Only Strickland and Adesanya know how to do that. How do you have a boring fight with who else did he fucking fight? I don't know. Anyway, I'm leaning toward this fight being exciting. I'm looking forward to it. I like that it's 5 rounds because Strickland, again, he's a point fighter. So the more rounds, the more chances Costa has to knock him the fuck out. The more chances Costa has to piss him off, get him out of his comfort zone, and really turn this into a barn burner. So I think it's going to be an exciting fight. I'm looking forward to it. Main event, Islam Makhachev, the number 1 pound-for-pound king. Islam Makhachev against the Diamond, Dustin. All right, Dustin Poirier against Islam Makhachev. It's a great matchup. I love the Diamond. I was rooting for him big against Benoit Saint-Denis. He pulled it through. He came through. He knocked him the fuck out. And we got Islam Makhachev running through everybody, making light work of Charles Oliveira. Slight work. No one does that to Charles. Arman beat Charles, but it was a decision. Other people have beaten Charles, but they haven't beaten him by stoppage in a while. He walked through Charles like a fucking hot knife through butter. He walked through Volkanovski in the second rematch. I don't care that Volkanovski was out of shape. He didn't lose any cardio. He wasn't winded. It was the first round. It's not like he was winded. It was a fourth round TKO due to Volkanovski gassing out. He head kicked the shit out of him. He beat Bobby Green like no one beats Bobby Green. Who beats Bobby Green first round? I get Bobby Green's not a championship fighter, but he's shown he's a top 15 guy. And who beats him first round bitches him? Who bitches Dan Hooker first round? Unless you're Michael Chandler. So he's putting people away. It's time for people to start putting respect on his resume. I just don't believe in Poirier's takedown defense. He got taken down a bunch by Benoit Saint-Denis. He got taken down and submitted by Charles Oliveira. He got taken down and submitted by Islam Makhachev. He beats guys like Hooker that doesn't do takedowns. He beats guys like Max that doesn't do takedowns. He beats guys like Gaethje that doesn't do takedowns. He loses to these grappler types. I know he beat Saint-Denis, but he was in some precarious positions, some very precarious positions. And if it's not a, newer guy, a championship-level fighter like Makhachev's not going to get winded. He's not going to have staph infection. He's not going to gas out. He's not going to blow his load like a dumbass and come out balls to the wall. He's going to pace himself. He's going to look for the shots. He's going to do a little striking here and there, get Dustin thinking about the head kicks. And then he's going to go for the takedowns, push him up against the fence, get the single legs, get the trips, Dagestani handcuff, take his back. He's going to be too heavy, too much. I want this fight to be exciting. I want Poirier to stay elusive, do the Sugar Sean Aljo method, stay on your toes, dance around, circle, keep him at range, make him lunge forward, try to hit him with some counters. But I feel like this fight's going to be boring. I think Makhachev is going to get him down, a la Habib Conor. I think it's going to be similar to the Habib Conor. I know Makhachev's a better striker than Habib, so they could have some good striking exchanges, similar to the Oliveira Makhachev matchup, where they were going back and forth with the striking until he dropped Oliveira and then he got on top and subbed him. He didn't really go for many takedowns in that fight. We could see a similar thing here, where he tries to hurt Dustin on the feet. In that case, it could get pretty interesting. Maybe Dustin with one of those patented hooks, the right hook that he knocked out Saint-Denis, the body shot that he hit with the Saint-Denis before that. Maybe a ghillie. Don't be silly. Pull the ghillie goose king. I'm not sure, but I'm thinking it's going to be boring. I think it's going to look like Habib Conor, and I think Makhachev's got it. So the most exciting matchups, I think, are going to be Strickland-Costa, even though Strickland doesn't have many exciting fights. I think this one will be. Almeida Romanov, because I think their grappling is going to counteract one another. We might see Almeida actually throw a punch or take a punch, which would be pretty exciting. And then Kopylov, Almeida. Overall, pretty shitty pay-per-view card. I'm excited for the story of Dustin Poirier's last shot, his final opportunity, his revenge against Habib, his revenge against these grapplers. Maybe he can finally get a guillotine. So I'm excited for that. I like the storyline. I think this is a good matchup. Kevin Holland, whatever. St. Brown, Dos Santos, whatever. The rest of these fights suck. Yeah, they suck. So not that excited for the card overall, but there's a couple storylines I'm very excited for. You best believe I'm going to be watching this one. Unlike 301 when I was on a cruise, I couldn't watch it. I'm going to be doing a live stream for this one. We're going to be doing picks. These aren't my official picks. I'm just going over the excitement level of each fight and how we think the card's going to look. So anyway, I'm back. I got my St. Martin beer that I brought back from St. Martin. Lager, specifically brewed in St. Martin. Got some seashells down there. So everybody, expect some more content from your boy Octagon Jordan. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. And let's enjoy this card.